Imagine it's July. The dashboard reads 48 degrees Celsius. And you'd trade a kidney for an ice cream without the trek across a parking lot that feels like a frying pan. Dubai's fix. Don't just crank the AC, put the whole city under one. Say hello to a 93-kilometer indoor superhighway and a dome big enough to house Monaco. Because when the desert turns brutal, Dubai hires engineers, not meteorologists. We've watched this emirate stack records like Jenga blocks. Highest this, largest that. Now, it's doubling down with two megaprojects that sound straight out of a sci-fi paperback.
Ow.
The Loop, a climate-controlled walking-cycling network, and the Mall of the World. A 48 million square foot air-conditioned bubble. Together, they're meant to let 3 million residents ditch the sunburn and still hit the gym, the office, and the food court. How do you air-condition a chunk of desert without melting the planet or the economy? Let's take a look. 6 months per year, Dubai is basically a giant hairdryer aimed at your face. Sidewalks radiate heat like pizza ovens, car steering wheels double as torture devices, and even camels look grumpy. More malls, more basements, more traffic. Those are band-aids. City planners wanted a tourniquet, something that keeps the heat outside the city limits, instead of fighting it room by room. The Loop is Dubai's answer to how do we make commuting feel like a gentle spring morning. Picture a subway tunnel, only sunlit and lined with ferns. No trains, just separate lanes for walkers, e-bikes, scooters, and whatever new gadget the internet invents next month. Smart glass keeps the thermostat pinned at 24 degrees Celsius year-round. Overhead, solar panels drink in the sun. Now kinetic tiles underfoot turn your morning jog into a mini power plant. 10 meters of footfalls, light the next 20. Condensers wring drinking water out of humid air to feed vertical farms that grow your salad greens right there in the corridor. Herb, the brains behind Dubai's sustainable city, is steering the build. By 2040, they want 80% of trips under 7 kilometers to happen inside this breezy web. The first 5-kilometer stretch opens in 2026. The full 93-kilometer loop is slated for 2040. Price, leaked tenders whisper, $35 billion. Roughly the cost of 2 brand-new international airports. Baggage carousels included. If the loop gets you around, the Mall of the World Dome is where you stay. Think of a glass bowl dropped over Monaco. Only instead of traffic jams, you'll find 100 hotels, multiplexes, a wellness district, Theater Boulevard, and the world's largest shopping center. The footprint, 48 million square feet, or roughly 75 central parks if you like your stats supersized. Triple-layered glass sandwiches a nanogel core that blocks 82% of solar heat, yet still lets daylight flood in. At night, the roof sections slide open for natural ventilation and a bit of stargazing. At dawn, they clamp shut like a giant clamshell. Inside, the air is filtered, ionized, and, because this is Dubai, lightly scented with rotating fragrances, jasmine in spring, oud in winter. Power comes from concentrated solar towers ringing the perimeter. They feed chilled water loops threaded through hollow columns, dumping excess heat into underground aquifers that later double as radiators in winter. Every drop of water gets recycled, sink water becomes hanging garden irrigation, black water is sterilized for cooling towers. Net result, the city under glass uses 30% less water per person than the one outside. Constructing an air-conditioned bubble in a sandstorm isn't a job for the faint-hearted or the faint-walleted. The loop's carbon fiber segments arrive by drone, snapping together like Lego bricks. Robotic welders work the graveyard shift when temperatures drop below 35 degrees Celsius. The dome's roof is a diagrid, a steel spiderweb, letting it cantilever 900 meters without a single internal pillar. While crews tighten tension ring cables, temporary helium bladders hold the roof in place like circus tent balloons, minus the clowns. If it works here, the same tech may one day prop up a Mars habitat, because Dubai adores solutions that scale interplanetary. Cycle to work in a 25-degree breeze, and step into a palm-shaded plaza that still counts as outdoors, even though it's technically indoors. Commute times stay under 20 minutes, and you're always a short walk, or e-scooter hop, from a beach. Because yes, the loop plugs into Dubai's latest beach extension. City planners hope behavior shifts. Instead of driving to a mall for air conditioning, you'll stroll a kilometer of shops without ever leaving the loop. Seniors can power walk at sunrise without risking heat stroke. And kids can bike to school in July, wearing regular backpacks instead of sunscreen armor. Officials predict obesity, traffic accidents, and carbon emissions all slide downhill once both systems hum. Skeptics call it the world's most expensive aircon bill, and they're not wrong. Keeping a city cool in 50-degree shade is pricey, even with solar and kinetic wizardry. Engineers counter that the dome's solar array will actually export surplus juice at night, turning the structure into a giant battery for the wider grid. Equity matters. If you can't afford to live under the dome or near a loop exit, are you marooned outside in the heat? City Hall says 40% of new housing units will be rent-capped for lower-income residents, and pedestrians and cyclists will always ride free. E-scooters and delivery bots will cough up small tolls to keep the lights on. Nice. And then there's the sand, fine enough to scratch glass and clog filters. Engineers are testing electrostatic panels that repel dust like a force field, plus drone swarms that hose down the roof at 3 a.m. when humidity peaks. If it works here, you can bet Mars colonists will copy-paste the design. If Dubai can air-condition a whole lifestyle, who's next? Think of Saudi Arabia's NEOM, Singapore's underground malls, or Qatar's cooled stadiums. All watching closely. Urban planners in sweltering megacities like Delhi, Lagos, and Phoenix are already sketching mini-loops to test whether controlled climates can beat sprawl, traffic, and deadly heat waves. Critics warn that copy-pasting Dubai's playbook in poorer regions risks building climate islands for the wealthy while leaving millions still baking outside the dome. But if tech like solar glass, aquifer cooling, and dust-repelling panels gets cheaper, we may see the line blur between luxury experiment and survival infrastructure. Dubai might not just be building for itself. It could be prototyping tomorrow's climate safety net. The Mall of the World Dome broke ground last year. Expect soft opening in 2030 and full completion by 2035. The Loop's pilot opens 2026. The whole network, 2040. Ballpark costs for both, a cool $100 billion. Though Dubai has a habit of announcing one figure and quietly adding zeros, just ask the Burj Khalifa's accountants. Here we are, a city already allergic to limits now wants to edit the climate itself. The Loop keeps you moving. Dome keeps you breathing, chilled, jasmine-scented air. Together, they could flip one of Earth's hottest deserts into one of its most walkable metropolises. If the numbers, the politics, and the sandstorms cooperate, visionary urban utopia, or the planet's priciest mirage, drop your take below. Smash subscribe for more future-proof deep dives. And tell us which megaproject we should tackle next. Floating eco-resorts, or the world's first 3D printed skyscraper.